There it went.
Okay, now you got it. Okay, we're live on YouTube.
Maybe I did that. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, folks. I'm sorry for the delay here, but again, one of those technical issues. If
welcome YouTube, welcome those YouTube viewers who were patiently waiting for the program to start. So,
welcome. We finally got connected with you. If you're looking for us on the internet, the best place to find us is on our YouTube channel, American Patriots for Convention of States. I'm going to throw this up here. You got to search on the full name there, American Patriots for Convention of States. And Ken, I think you're going to post a link to that channel, right?
I've already posted that link in the chat, so that link can be shared and it can be clicked on, and you can go right to the YouTube for our channel. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right. Yep. That's the way to find us. Don't search for COS today. Go to this YouTube channel, American Patriots for Convention of States. There you'll find the current broadcast and all of our past broadcasts, shorts, everything is there. So that's the way to find us. All right, Kent, let's move on down here then. And without hesitation, let's get into our first segment. This is the In Focus segment. And we've been doing this for some months now, and we're having great success with it. A lot of positive viewer approval. This is where we bring on 3 guests and to talk with Ken and I, and we each talk about what in the news is our focus. That's why we call it the In Focus segment. What's caught our attention? What are we focusing on? So again, we've had some very, very good experience with this. So let me bring on our guests here this evening. First, Miss Debbie Stewart, young lady. Hi, Debbie.
Hi, Debbie.
Hi. Thanks for
Debbie's been a longtime contributor for Convention of States on various topics. We have Jericho Nelson, former. Well, you're still involved in COS, right, Jericho?
A little bit, yeah. Not as much as I was while I was during school, but yeah, just a little bit, yeah.
Jericho graduated from college fairly recently, is now in the ministry in South Carolina. So glad to have him. Thanks. And this young lady we haven't had in a long time, Cheryl Shopmeyer.
Hey.
Hi, Cheryl. Cheryl is a region captain for Convention of States here in Indiana. And still a school board member, if I remember right.
That is correct.
That hasn't been a problem for you at all, I'm sure, right, Cheryl?
No, not at all.
I know she has had some challenges there. But anyway, so yeah, Cheryl stepped forward. And how long? When were you elected to the school board? How long has it been now?
In 2022, I ran for school board, and then I have to run again next year if I want to stay.
Oh, are you going to run again?
I think so.
Okay, good.
We'll see.
Good for you. Good for you. All right. Well, like I said, this is the In Focus segment, and so Debbie Stewart, I want to start off with you. What's got your attention, kid?
Yeah, so I just been kind of we talked about this last month, and October was a big month to talk about this because a lot of this happened in September. But this whole Board of Peace, everything that's going on in Gaza, I know that Jericho is going to talk more about what's actually happening on the ground over there. So I'm not really going to talk about that, but I wanted to say, where are we today? What is Trump saying? And I thought it was interesting. They're talking about a Board of Peace of 10 different leaders. And I'm going to connect that to the Bible a little bit too. So, but we'll start out with, he's talking about, they really want to finish phase 1 and start phase 2 by the end of this month. So Trump's hope is that before the Christmas break, he names who these supposedly around 10 people are going to be, these 10 leaders. And then we're going to know what's going on in phase 2. Okay. So to go backwards just a little bit, phase 1, part of that was the hostages being returned. And as of the 4th, there was only one deceased body left to get back.
Oh, they're down to one now, huh?
They're
I
down
didn't
to one.
realize that. Yeah.
That was on the 4th. They said that it was the remains of one deceased hostage.
Yeah.
Okay, and they were supposed to meet, I think, this Thursday to talk about it. So we'll see. Also, the U.S. has pressured Israel to open the Rafah crossing to allow Palestinians to leave Gaza for Egypt, and also to allow other Palestinians to come back. So they are allowing for that. And then Benjamin Netanyahu and Trump are supposed to meet a little bit later on this month, sometime in the month of December, to talk about phase 2.
Now, am I correct though? In phase 2, Hamas is supposed to disarm.
That's a piece of it, yeah. So that's the question of the hour, whether that's going to happen.
Yeah.
I read something saying that they say no, they're not going to do that. They're not planning on disarming. But either way, Israel has to come out of Gaza more. That's going to be part of phase 2. And then also the ISF, the international, we talked about the stabilization force last time, deploying to Gaza, and that new governing structure beginning to take place. So the UN Security Council has recently authorized both the ISF and the board of this board of 10, whoever they're going to be. And then this board of 10, underneath this peace board of 10 different leaders, there's going to be like an international board, and it's called the International Executive Board. And that would be a group of people that are underneath some of those leaders in each one of those countries. And then below that will be a Palestinian technocratic government that will have like 12 to 15 different leaders that are not involved in Hamas or Fatah or any of the other groups that we know are not a good idea. And then those would be the ones that we're kind of doing on the, hands-on with what's going on in the new governance.
Okay. Well, what's going to happen though if Hamas refuses to disarm?
Yeah, so that's the question. I'm not sure. I'm sure they've probably, and I'm just speculating here, they probably thought, well, if A happens, then this is what we'll do. And if Hamas does this, this is what we'll do. To the best of their ability is probably my guess. Has anybody else heard anything about them disarming? I have not.
No.
The only other thing that I've heard about that is, they're refusing to disarm, and Israel then is threatening to unleash the military again if they refuse to disarm. So
yeah. I think this is where the hardest part comes in, I feel like.
Yeah.
So for Israel to pull out of there and then Hamas to lay down arms, you're kind of leaving okay, what's going to happen? Who's going to do what? Is everybody going to hold to their end of the deal? So I don't know.
Now this board that you're talking about, that I don't know, that may carry a lot of weight. That may be a big factor here.
Yeah. This board of peace will be a combination of Arab and Western nations. And the Tony Blair, remember he said Tony Blair would be involved, but he's going to be underneath this board of peace. He's going to be in that International Executive Committee along with Jared Kushner and Steve Witkoff.
Okay.
So they're supposed to be kind of at level 2. And then, of course, there will be the group of 12 to 15 Palestinians below them. They'll actually be doing more of the hands-on work while being counseled by this international committee, who's being counseled by the Board of Peace, who is being led by President Trump.
Okay. All right.
Now, what I think is really interesting, if you pay attention to the Bible, if you read Daniel 7 or you read Revelation chapter 17, it talks about the beast. There's a fourth beast, and it has 7 heads and 10 horns. And it comes right out and says those 10 horns are 10 kings. And it specifically says that those 10 kings don't have kingdoms, but they're going to be given authority for 1 hour to use their authority towards the beast, towards this global governance. And so I'm not saying this is it, but it's just like we've never really been in a position where somebody's gotten an international committee of 10 people together who are considered high up in their countries.
Yeah.
And it may not even be 10. It might be 9 or 11. We don't know for sure. That's kind of like a guessing number. But I just think it's kind of neat that, that it will happen in the end times. And is this just something that's kind of setting up the stage for something 10, 20, 30, 50 years down the road? We don't know. But yeah, so that's kind of.
All right. Good. Jericho.
Yes, sir.
What's on your mind, kid?
It's perfectly timed because of what Miss Debbie was saying here. Following after what she said, this conversation of peace is so perfectly timed because so many churches right now, as we enter in this Christmas season, is each week we're taking time to reflect on something that the birth of Jesus brings, and this week's symbolically is peace. And so that's the thing that's been on my heart recently is peace. And following after what Miss Debbie said, I think an image for us that is so neat to see is, I'm not sure if y'all have seen this, but in the West Bank, they recreated the Christmas tree that has been there in Bethlehem for the last several years, for the first time in 2 years since the war broke out in Gaza and Israel. And so that's really neat to see. It also gives an image of hope and peace and just restoration in that area right there. And it couldn't be without the help and support of so many other people, like Miss Debbie is saying here, these international leaders coming together and helping everybody out. And then another thing that is grabbing my attention and also grabbing the attention of so many other people, young and old, even celebrities as well, is this persecution of Christians and religious people in the country of Nigeria. This is something that blew my mind. I never would have expected this as a young person. There's this singer, and her name is Cardi B or something. I personally don't listen to her music, but she went on this special envoy trip with Steve Witkoff, advocating for political action and awareness for these Christians who are being persecuted in Nigeria. And I'll say I never had that on my bingo card for 2025, but there we go. And so that was really neat to see, and just the work and the awareness, not only from the president's hands, but also just as our government that we're taking action to speak up for those Christians who are being martyred out there. And so it's really neat to see, especially in this season, as it's so easy for us to feel hopeless. But as we anchor our hearts right now, this season of Christmas, into the meaning of Christmas, Jesus, it's perfectly timed with the message of peace that he brings.
Now, am I right? The Nigerian government is denying this, that these people are being killed, the Christians are being killed. Am I right? Aren't they denying that?
Yeah, I've heard so much about that. I think I can't even remember what it was, but I think Nigeria is broken up into several different areas. Like you got northern Nigeria, southern Nigeria, and the thing that's baffling to me in southern Nigeria, there's like these mega churches that have millions and millions of people, where these preachers and pastors or whatever, they are given millions and millions of dollars as an income, yet none of that money is being used to help those who are actually being persecuted in Nigeria. And so not only are the political leaders standing idle, but so are the church leaders as well. And it's taking action all the way from the other side of the globe to raise awareness to this. So yeah, you're absolutely right there, Mr. Dale. Okay.
All right. Good. Yeah, I've been hearing that in the news off and on. That's quite astounding that's really happening. So.
It kind of reminds me of Germany and the Nazis. They'd see the trains going by and they knew the concentration camps were there. None of the churches spoke up.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Cheryl, what's on your mind, kid?
Well, I just think that we are being so inundated with information, which we know in the last days, evil will increase and so will information. And that is definitely happening. The trouble is, how reliable is that information? AI has been so well perfected. I mean, it's not absolutely perfect, but it is so good. It is sometimes difficult to see if it's real or if it's not real. And people are using that information and calling it the gospel, basically. And maybe it is, maybe it isn't. So I keep hearing things about all this fraud and corruption being exposed. They've had multiple times where information has been dumped on us, and we found this and we found that. We have the receipts, and on and on and on. Yet nothing happens to these people, and that is concerning to me.
Yeah. You mentioned AI. We are on COS today. We're getting more and more involved in the AI part. And as a matter of fact, in 2026, we're going to introduce a new member of our team to you. Well, I'm not gonna get too involved in it right now, but this is going to be a member on our team that's going to appear on just about every broadcast, and she's not real, but she's going to look real. So AI is really playing a more and more of a role. It's amazing. It's amazing what can be done, and unfortunately, it can be used for the wrong way as well. So,
and I think it is.
Yes.
Being used incorrectly, inappropriately.
We need to have our guy from Ohio come back on to talk about media bias, and because all the information out there where it's overload, and
it is.
You don't know what to believe and what not to believe, and I know he has I think a unique way of looking at this, but so it's very interesting. It's very interesting. So no doubt about it, information overload. That's for sure. Mm-hmm. That's for sure. I still think it comes down to what sources do you really trust and which ones do you not trust, because you can't absorb all of them.
Well, take for instance, there was somebody posted a clip. I want to say it was of Trump saying something, and so I said, "Oh, so you actually heard him say it?" Well, no, my friend was there and she heard it. I said, "But you didn't hear it personally, right?" And I pressed her to the point where she finally backed down because she didn't hear it herself.
Yeah.
And even if you hear it yourself on a form of, whether it's TV or the internet or whatever, you still don't know if it's that person.
Yeah.
So it's kind of scary.
Yeah. That's for sure. That's for sure. All right, Ken, what do you got? What's on your mind?
Well, I'm going to briefly talk a little bit about the obvious bombings of all the cocaine that's floating across the international waterways and making its way into our country and killing hundreds of thousands of people, including our young kids in this country. I see the strings that are pulled and the obvious buzzwords that come out. First one being a war crime, and obviously those who appear troubled by videos of military strikes on designated terrorists, which, by the way, because they are designated terrorists, removes any possibility of it being a war crime. But these people also have not bothered to take a look or even bring back up the thousands of bombs that the Obama administration dropped on Syria. That was without congressional authority as well. So, it's always thrown up when it's most timely and most needed to be used by these people to fit their narrative, and it really doesn't. It doesn't go back. And you could look at, it's not just Obama. You could look at George W. You can look at a number of the preceding administrations that bombed places without congressional authority, and it was never bought. I mean, it. I don't even think it hit the news pages. Other than the fact that maybe they knew he dropped them. I don't know, but it certainly bothers me to the point that a little bit of research that I did. Obviously, one of the first stories that popped up in defense of these boats is that one person apparently in Colombia was going to sue based on the fact that her husband was a fisherman. Well, first of all, I didn't see any fishing poles on these boats. And secondly, what I did find out is some of these people that are driving these boats are highly efficient navigators on the waterways, and they're being paid somewhere near $100,000 to make these trips. So
Really?
yeah, $100,000. Yeah, I'll drive the boat. Yeah, I'll take the boat over. So yeah, I'm not saying that maybe this lady who's suing, her husband wasn't a fisherman, but he's a fisherman that's doing a little bit on the side, and that's driving drugs across the country and killing people. So yeah, it's just one of those things that, again, it's the same tactic. Throw out the fear, throw out the chaos, use the buzzwords, and forget everything that they did on the opposite side of things. It's just, it's just what we have to put up with here.
That's kind of one of the things that I've been focusing on too. They're trying so hard to tag Pete Hegseth with a war crime. Is what they're trying to do here. Anything to undermine Trump, get him, get one of his cabinet members, charged with a war crime or something. And I don't know. I just
well, the one thing that they were talking about, the most recent one was the one where they said two guys apparently that ended up in the water and climbed back on the boat, and then the second strike, which is what they're claiming, introduces a war crime. The fact of the matter is the order is to sink the boat, and the boat wasn't totally sunk. And these guys have high communication capabilities, and other boats in the area, they were trying to save some of that on that boat. So the second strike was actually warranted because the boat didn't get sunk yet. And under the orders, that's what had to be done. The boat had to be sunk. Pretty cut and dry.
Well,
Can you
I guess
imagine what it would be like if these people that are perpetrating all these evil things would channel that energy into good things? Yeah. How much better this world would be.
That's for sure. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Yep. Jericho, I wanted to ask you. You're in the ministry.
Yes, sir.
Is the church you're involved in? Do they take a stand on any of these things that we're talking about in the world today? I mean, is it discussed, or is it, or do you try to avoid those types of things in your church there?
Yeah, I've only been here for about 6 months, but I believe this is one of the things that the Lord has called me to be faithfully present in, and it's representing Him in these issues, because you see so often so many people who are in these opportunities that we are in the church don't stand up for these things. And it shouldn't be the government that stands up for these issues first. It should really be the church, because we really have the solution to all of that. And so actually one of the things I intend to do starting in the year is lead our church into a series of apologetics, or why we believe the things that we believe and the things that we can do actively. And so raising awareness, but also raising our hands in support and getting down on our knees and helping people, whatever that looks like, because that is completely necessary. And if the church is not doing it, then we're failing. So
see, this is something we discussed many episodes ago, was the role of the church, because the church, as we know, played a very significant role in the founding of this country.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
And so, but over time, so many of the churches have stayed away from getting involved in these issues because they're political, and they don't want to jeopardize their tax status, so they stay away from these issues. But I think there's a movement underway to get the churches more involved. And we've got a guest coming on that's involved in Turning Point, and she might have some viewpoints on this too. But the impact of what's going on in Turning Point now, and how that's going to affect churches and so forth. It's a very interesting movement. I think it's changing.
Hey, Dale.
Yeah.
Got a comment from a viewer I want to put up in regards to Jericho's segment talking about Nigeria. So we're just going to put this up because it's got something that people can reference. This is from Susan Lyon. She says, if you subscribe to the free magazine, The Voice of the Martyrs, you'll get much news about persecuted folks around the world. It's got good information. There's a link there that obviously I'll see if I can copy it. It's in the chat. So if you want that link, it's in the chat, and there's also a source code there. So just something I wanted to put up that references some more information on the persecution.
Great. All right, great.
I think you also ought to take a look at implementing Patriot Academy's biblical citizenship. It is excellent information on how the church should be involved in the public square. So I highly recommend that you maybe get that into your church as well.
Well, and the churches have a huge role in at this point. Some of the biggest answers to what's going on is the loss of the moral fiber in this country. And that's what the churches are there and are supposed to be for. So rebuilding the moral fiber in this country is a key.
Yeah.
And I think most of our political issues are all moral in the roots. They are moral issues. People say, "Oh, that's politics." No, it's a moral issue. Yes. And I know that before Micah Beckwith actually started as lieutenant governor, he was going around to a lot of the pastors and trying to get them involved in being part of the political system, and explain to them how important it was, and that you can't be fearful of your tax status. But nobody's ever done anything to anybody for talking about it anyways, and things are changing in that area anyways. And we get that Voice of the Martyr magazine. That's one of my favorite ones because
that too
happening to real people. I mean, that will make you shed tears reading those stories that people are living through, because they would rather become a Christian and be severely persecuted than to recant their beliefs. And I think that's really what it's all about.
Yeah. Wow. Well, we're down to just a few minutes left. I just want to throw mine out here. This Somali thing out of Minnesota really has my attention, and the fraud that's going on there, and how, once again, how the media is twisting that to where we're against all Somalis. Everybody's a criminal type of thing, when that's not the case. But that's the way it's being spun, and I just think that's I think that's just the tip of the iceberg of the amount of fraud that goes on in our government throughout this country. Just millions and millions of dollars going to no telling what in foreign countries, and it's just amazing how you talk about channeling the energy, Cheryl. How people can come up with these fraudulent whatever you want to call them, activities. I mean, it really takes some thought how to put that together, and of course, if you've got a government that just so easily throws out money, it's probably pretty easy to get away with it. So, I've Gary Harbaugh, one of our other contributors, I've asked him to do a piece on the demise of Doge. And I think Doge was such an important activity, and of course, dealing with our national debt, which involves spending and so forth. That's one of our main pillars here in Convention of States that we stand for, and I really was hoping that Doge would have a tremendous effect, but apparently it has gone away. It is no longer in existence at all, I guess.
Well, the elites have such a stranglehold on so many areas of our government. I mean, it almost is like the proverbial grenade needs to go off for it to all be torn down and rebuilt.
Yeah, yeah.
But there is why we need convention of states.
That's right. That's how we can. Good way to sum things up here, Cheryl. That's why we exist. That's why we need a convention of states to bring the power back to the people.
Yes.
Because Washington D.C. can't correct these problems. They can't.
They don't want to.
They don't want to, and they really can't.
Mm-hmm.
That's why the power of the people have to be exerted here. So that's a good way to wrap it up here on this segment, calling for a convention of states. So Debbie, Jericho, Cheryl, thank you very much.
Thank you for having me.
And hope to have you back again sometime. All right.
Sounds good.
All right. Thank you. Thank you very much, guys.
Bye.
Bye. All right, Ken, another good segment on In Focus.
I think we covered a couple of good ones. Yep.
Yeah, I think we did. And we always do. We always seem to have a good time on that particular segment. So, Ken, you're on tonight, right?
I guess that's the switch that has to be thrown. We couldn't find anybody else to do anything different, so I guess I got pegged to do one.
That's not true.
That's not true, and it's a very important one. So I preface this with the fact that it's really. And I'll get into more of this with some.
Hold your thought. Let's let Maringo Mike wants to give us a reminder.
Let Maringo jump in here and give me a second to catch my breath.
Yeah, then we'll come back to you and you can take it away. All right.
All right.
Maringo Mike here, asking you to hit that like, subscribe, and especially that notification bell so you'll be reminded every time we go live. We really do appreciate your support. Now, back to our program.
All right, Ken.
All right.
You're going to talk to us tonight about gender identity, right?
Gender identity, yes. Okay. And as I was about to lead into this, it's a very small percentage of people that are involved. I believe it's 1.6%, according to one of the latest studies that was done. That people are actually identifying in the transgender world, but I find that it affects a lot more people than sometimes people realize. Because, and again, I won't go into any details, but there's a member in my own family that is going through this process at a very young age, 7 years old, really. So,
right. Is she actually transitioning? Or do they have...
No, none of that is going on at this point. Okay, it's the early stages of parental, and this is part of what I was looking at too, parental acceptance, whereby the allowing of the way they're allowed to dress. And the way that they're recognized and addressed, dressed and addressed. So that aside, we're going to focus a little bit more, not so much on the younger portion of transgenderism tonight, because our special guest has some real experience at the college level. So I really we'll get into that. I just wanted to bring up a little bit about Indiana law, because tonight we are focusing on Indiana in particular. But as of February 27th, 2024, according to a new law, physicians may not prescribe or administer hormone therapy or gender-affirming medications for gender transition to patients under the age of 18. Now, physicians also may not refer a minor patient to another physician in or outside of Indiana for this type of care. One of the things I looked up was regarding Riley's Children's Hospital, and while the gender health program at Riley will comply with the new law, there's a multidisciplinary team that can provide mental health and social support for patients and their families with a very strong emphasis on family acceptance. Again, I put that in air quotes because they really don't go into detail on family acceptance. And I'm going to insert my own opinion here, but family acceptance should be looked at not only from the fact that family members need to accept the person for what they're involved in, but there should be a moral standpoint addressing to it. When you come down to actual science, which we heard preached all the time, biology, and the Bible and moral acceptance, these things need to be used to help these people who obviously have a mental health condition. So that being said, I'm gonna bring on our special guest at this point. Her name is Macy Gunnell, and she hails from Northern Indiana. And I'm gonna let me bring on Macy. Hi, Macy.
Hey guys, it's great to be here. Thanks so much.
Thanks for coming on tonight. I want to go ahead and let you give a little bit of your background and your bio, because it's long, and I was really impressed with the amount of engagement you have been through with not only St. Mary's, and I know Dale mentioned TPU and other things, but if you want to just give us a short history of some of the things you've done, I found it quite impressive.
Absolutely. Well, thank you again for having me, guys. Super excited to be here. First of all, my name is Macy. I'm 21 years old. I'm a daughter of Christ. I'm very proud of my Christian faith, and that's what I root everything I do in. But I'm a senior at St. Mary's College, and I also serve as the press secretary of College Republicans of America. I actually just spent my last summer at the White House. I was an intern for the Office of Management and Budget on the Homeland Security side as well. In addition to that, I'm graduating soon, heading back out to DC to do some work. But I'm also very heavily involved in Turning Point. I'm the president of our chapter here, and I also do a lot of work with the national team as well. So granted, I'm very hardcore conservative, if you can't tell, and I very much love my country, and I love doing everything I can to help save it, because there's a lot of work that needs to be done, unfortunately. And you'll see it's not my story, but there's a lot of experience I've been blessed to have. So I'm looking forward to sharing what I've learned there.
Yeah. Well, we appreciate that. And Macy, it's quite a repertoire of involvement that you've already had. But I want to speak a little bit tonight about your experience at St. Mary's. I know in doing a little bit of research, there's roughly 25 to 30 private colleges, private women's colleges in the United States. And I think from what I read, and this might be a little bit dated, but all but 3 of them already are allowing transgender males to be allowed to be entered the college. And the rest of them, according to that are similar to St. Mary's, where you've got a Catholic-based school. There's a smaller handful there. But if you would tell us a little bit really about how you found out about St. Mary's, and they're even considering bringing on transgender people, and how that experience went, and basically tell us a little bit about that fight, because it was a fight.
Absolutely, yeah. So I came to St. Mary's assuming I was going to get a good Christian conservative education, but I was proven wrong very fast. My sophomore year, I was working in the admissions office, and I found out through my boss that they were considering a new admissions policy. And of course, I was interested, and I found out that this was a policy that would admit transgender women, so biological men, who constantly live and identify as women, whatever that means. And at 19 years old, I knew that something was up. I wasn't even outwardly conservative at the point, really, but I knew that this is something that was so wrong. I mean, it completely defied the entire point of the school. I mean, this is a Catholic women's college. The entire point of the school is to be exclusive for women only, but they're all of a sudden trying to go on this moral propaganda mission to try to be inclusive at a school that's meant to be exclusive. So it was a very long, hard fight. I was terrified at first, but I, with the help of several other students and then thousands of supporters across the nation, we were able to organize a mass financial boycott that ended up getting the policy reversed about a month later. So, but I mean, the best medicine in this situation was sunlight. Sunlight was best disinfectant, because all we had to do was share this to the media. It blew up. It caught wind really fast. It was on national news about 2 days later after I exposed it. And next thing you knew, I mean, this became a national story. And thanks to all the support of so many patriots, and not even those on the right, but people on the left as well, we all knew that this was something that was horrible. It was going to ruin the school. And fortunately, that ended up being the talking point that got us through, and it got reversed about a month later.
So
I see.
can I ask a question here, if you don't mind? Ken just said of the did I hear you right? Of the 30 all women's schools across the country, all but about 3 of them admit trans. How did that happen?
Yes.
How does that happen? How is that happening?
Well, so I guess we could say there's only 3 all women's colleges across the United States here. It's really unfortunate because higher education, I've seen it myself as a conservative. It's become plagued with just the most progressive, disgusting woke mind virus, as the administration calls it. There's so many of these feminist scholars who run these schools, these women's colleges specifically, thinking that they're on the high moral ground and they're on an amazing mission of inclusivity and love, when all they're doing is actually ripping apart the true foundations of the school and doing everything in their power to run the school into the ground. I mean, we were going to see that happen at St. Mary's if it did continue. So it's really disappointing to see the way that higher education is ran by these super left-wing progressive activists. And it's unfortunately come to a point where it's at the detriment of women, which ironically enough, at these women's colleges, these places are meant to be places of empowerment for women, but all they're doing is tearing us down and putting men above ourselves first. So it's really frustrating, and it's something that I've been bringing to light a lot recently, especially after the policy. This is something that needs to be ended, because otherwise, if we don't stop it now, who knows how much longer it's going to last? Because we've seen it in sports, education, high schools.
Yeah, I mean,
We have to stop
if you
this
have
now.
if these schools have any sports programs, these biological men are competing in these sports programs. Have you any idea, any sense of these schools, what percentage of
Transgenders.
genders comprise of the population of these schools? Is it only like 1%, 2%? Do you have any sense of that?
I can't give an exact estimate, but knowing what I know, I mean, at these schools, you are going to see somewhat of a small percentage, of course, but we can't let that deny the fact that this is something that's so detrimental
Right.
to the mere definition of being a woman. So just because it might be a small percentage doesn't mean this isn't something that should be combated. This isn't a huge problem.
Yeah.
And we know at this point, Macy, that Title IX obviously was being used, is being focused very hard on the sports portion of transgender, and of course I think that's where most of the attention goes. The swimming and the volleyball and everything else that has become involved with transgenderism, and obviously not only the degradation of women, but the injuring of women in these sports. But I think what I've been reading is Title IX is starting to be a little bit more focused on the private schools and the higher education areas of the problem. And it's another thing, again, I mean, left for another whole topic and another whole program is the fact that this education of transgenderism is starting so much younger. In the elementary grades, this is being used to really distract people with what I want to term as the evil of transgenderism. So I mean, obviously, fighting it from a women's private college aspect is obviously needed. But do you see at all, being that you did spend some time at the White House and what have you, and I know it was Homeland Security, but do you see Title IX maybe getting a little more active in the private schools?
I would absolutely hope so, because I mean, of course, this is more than just protecting women's athletics, but this is also about protecting our spaces, our dorms, our bathrooms, and honestly, the mere moral principle of being a woman. I mean, we've seen, it's upsetting to see from Catholic schools, especially, but we see the mere sanctity of being a woman in God's image being absolutely stripped apart and ruined, and that's something that we need to combat at every single level virtually. So I hope that this is something that is taken more seriously with the legal perspective as well, because there definitely is action that can be taken, and we're very grateful to have an amazing administration in place right now that does see the problem with this issue and is putting a lot of time and effort into actually standing up for women for once. So I'm glad to see that there's been a lot of efforts made, a lot of emphasis put on this issue, and I look forward to seeing what else they do in the near future as well.
Well, and I was just going to ask you. You've kind of answered the question I had next. Was the administration that was trying to slip this through in St. Mary's, were they still there, or do you have a new administration? And obviously, you answered that by saying you do have a new administration. Is that correct?
Well, no, they actually are still here. I was meaning
Oh,
the presidential administration, the White House. I'm glad to see the effort they've done. But on the contrast, the administration here at this school, they are quite the opposite. They are very left wing, but the same president is still in place that was in place when the policy happened as well. So rest assured, I am the watchdog here. I'm not afraid to be the loud, stubborn conservative and be the public enemy number one on this campus. So rest assured, nothing's getting past me as long as I'm here. So.
Well, we need more fighters like you, not only in the private schools, but we could use them in our other major university as well, because
Right.
our major universities are so quickly being downgraded, and really at this point, people coming out with hundreds of thousands of dollars of debt and can't even get a job because what they've been taught is basically how to get along in the pronoun world. So
Exactly.
to me, we really need. Again, I think obviously starting from the White House side of things, and I know we're already headed that way, but seeing our Department of Education wiped out is a good first step. But we really need to focus on education, and we have to take back the education of our small children, because they get them at such a young age that by the time they're even in middle school, they're committing suicide in rates that are just abnormal, and the problems that they're experiencing is really horrendous. So again, as a grandparent, I'm overprotective of my grandchildren, but then to have somebody in my own family, realm that I know is actually being allowed to go through with this, it breaks my heart. So do appreciate everything you've done on there. How are we doing on time, Dale? Are we okay?
Yeah, we're doing fine. We got about another 5 minutes
Okay.
to go if we need it.
Yeah. Well, Macy, do you have anything else to add? I know we've got another segment we want to bring you back for to discuss TPU and your college Republican connection. Do you have anything else that you see as insightful or that you want to share concerning the topic?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think that's my generation. There is a revival happening. I'll get more into this later in the segment that we have following this, but I do want to assure viewers that there is hope on the horizon. There's so many more students out there just like me. There's so many people out there who are sick and tired of the mockery that's being made of us women. So rest assured, this is an issue that I think is going to be relevant for a long time, but also we have just as many fighters out there just like me who are willing to do whatever it takes in order to stand up for women. So although it can seem scary, it can seem easy to get, bogged down by the unfortunate, ugly, stupid reality we have to deal with of these stupid transgender policies and these horrible political activists in our education system and also in our judicial system as well. I want to assure you guys that our next generation that's following my generation, we are pissed off and we are ready to do whatever it takes to stand up for truth and to stand up for, most importantly, truth rooted in the Lord's word.
Perfect.
That's good to hear.
Go ahead, Dale. While you got something to say there, I want to put up a couple of comments that have come in regarding this segment. So
go ahead.
First one I want to show you is from Jimmy Murphy. He says, "Let's go, Macy. I am pumped."
That's my fiance. That's so funny.
Oh, okay. So now we have another story. Okay.
Okay. All right.
He's even more conservative than I am, so you have to bring him on.
Oh, yeah. We'll have to. Jimmy, you're invited to our next program. We'll get you a link and get you hooked in there. I got one other comment I'm going to go ahead and share. This is basically from Susan again, and she says, "Macy, thank you for what you did. I heard about it at the time because one of my granddaughters was a student at St. Mary's. Parents and grandparents were appalled."
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I can assure you, people like Susan, they are exactly why I do what I do, and they're exactly why I've stayed here at St. Mary's as well. A lot of people ask me why in the world I stayed after such a horrendous thing happened to me. Such a horrendous situation happened in the school entirely. But I do it for people like Susan. I do it for the students here because I know that if there weren't stubborn people out there like me to combat these horrible mistruths that we deal with and these horrible evils, then we'd surely fall into a horrible, horrible state in our higher education, especially in our women's colleges. So rest assured, I'm staying here. I'm not going anywhere, and I'm staying in this fight as long as I can, even after I graduate. So doing it for you, Susan.
Well, it's good to know that you and your fiance are not a divided house, because God doesn't want a divided house, and we certainly look forward to not only talking with both you and your fiance in the future, but we look forward to bringing you back in about 20 minutes after we show this next segment to talk a little bit more about the youth and TPU and the other areas of the government with the Republican government that you deal with. So thank you, Macy, so much.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you guys
for what you do, Macy. Thank you for what you're doing.
Of course. Thank you.
Very, very nice young lady. Yes.
Got a lot more to say, Dale. We're going to have to bring her back and get. I think you mentioned that there was another TPU person. We'll maybe get into that in the next segment or in that segment. When
I
Mason
meant,
comes back on.
well, I'll ask her. Yeah, I want to know if I'm going to ask her if she knows this other gentleman. That's I got his name here, and I'll bounce it off of her when we bring her back.
Sounds good.
When we talk about TPU.
Sounds good.
Well, Ken, this has been a very interesting topic. Obviously, it always is. I know, obviously, since ever since the election, this is the administration has been trying to offset this trend and try to get it stopped. But there's still a lot of it going on, it seems to me, and because you still hear reports of trans movements and trans people here and there. So it's still, I don't know. Do you see any light at the end of the tunnel with your personal situation there?
I don't know. It's hard to say. It's part of the family. It's a little estranged. Going back to COVID and the whole election cycle that we went through. It put a lot of strain on family attachments. These are obviously people, from a side of my family that I love dearly and would like to see them recognize, God in their life and really come to an acknowledgement that the road that they're on right now is really only going to lead to disappointment and further problems. So it is hard there. As I said, it's one of those things that since COVID, I think the young people have struggled so much in our education system, and it's been allowed to go on to the point that we've just progressed to this point where it's fine to have somebody a drag queen reading a story in elementary school, but as soon as you mention any type of moral structure to get kids help that they need, it gets thrown out the window by so many people. And as Macy alluded to, you've got these people that are running colleges that are they think they're doing the moral good for because they're concerned and they're emotional. They wear their emotions on their sleeves and never really look at the problem. So yeah.
All right. Okay. Well, thanks for doing that, Ken, and thanks to Macy for coming on, and we're going to be bringing her back on here very shortly. But got a couple things to go over here before we get to Macy and Turning Point. So, Ken, you want to take a little time here and explain that QR code up in the corner?
Sure. That little QR code right there is a code that basically just a support code. It's a way to show COS today and the people that are involved here that you support what we're doing, you support our programming, and it's a way to access a platform basically that allows you to see some of our great contributor segments that goes back quite a couple of years of worth of contributor segments, and it's a name and an email address is all that it takes to get involved. We're not asking for no donations. We won't pummel you with advertisements or anything else. It's just a way to show us that you're supporting, and the platform does allow you to add comments or say even add suggestions. So if you've got suggestions, you'd like to see more people like Macy or more topics that we're discussing, it's a good place to do it, as well as you could do it in the chat as well. But great way to show your support, and that's what that QR code is. So use that smartphone.
Good deal. Well, this next segment that we want to present to you, this is something that Ken and I did back in September when we attended the Convention of States annual summit that was held in Indianapolis in September. And while we were there, Ken and I had the privilege of actually setting up kind of an information table to talk to various people about COS today and how we're doing this broadcast and how it came about, and if we could help anyone that would be interested in any other state doing the same thing. But in the process of our couple days at this summit, we had the privilege of interviewing a number of people. And we're going to bring to you 3 individuals that we interviewed. We've asked the same question, Ken, to all 3 individuals, and that was, why is Convention of States, why are we stuck at 19 states, having passed the resolution calling for a convention? As you know, we need to get to 34 states for this to actually happen. And we've been at 19 states for a couple years now. What's it going to take to get beyond 19 states? So we asked that question to all the people that we interviewed. And we're going to bring to you 3 of the interviews that we did. The first one will be with our CEO, Mark Meckler. I'm not sure what order you have these in, but the next one should be Micah Beckwith, our lieutenant governor here in Indiana. And the final one is Rick Santorum, previous Senator Rick Santorum, and he is currently a senior advisor for Convention of States. So we had the opportunity to talk to all 3 of them, posing the same question to each one. Anything else you want to add to that introduction, Ken?
Not really, Dale. You covered it all. We tried to get as many interviews as we could, and we do have a few more we could probably put together for some future programming. But these three are very special, based on obviously their knowledge, experience, and
right.
The fact
And I thought their answers were very interesting too. So
yeah.
I hope everyone enjoys this. Let's bring it on here.
We're asking a simple question.
Yeah.
Why you've probably been asked this question 100 times at least. Why is it taking so long for us to get past 19 states? And what's it going to take to get to 34?
Yeah, I mean, first, there's a couple different answers to that question. First is the framers intended for it to be really hard.
Yes.
I mean,
okay, hold on. Are you ready to get started?
I'm rolling, yeah.
Oh, you are now?
Yeah, I'm rolling. Just keep going. I'll cut what I need to, but and I will say that's the most prominent answer we're getting.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Okay, so first is the framers intended for it to be really hard. And people don't understand that. They understood human nature, and they didn't want it to be easy because then they knew the Constitution would be changed sort of willy-nilly. Right? You get some kind of social fad sweeps through the nation, and maybe we end up with some kind of weird gender ideology in the Constitution. And they wanted time for that kind of stuff to work itself out in society. So they wanted it to take years and years and years and millions of people to build consensus. And if you think about constitutional amendments generally, they're what I call capstones. So if you ever look at like a pillar that's made out of stone, on the top of that pillar is a capstone, right? When they finish it off, that prevents water from going down inside, but that's the last stone. Before you pass an amendment, the public generally believes very firmly in whatever's in that amendment. It doesn't change anything. You build public opinion, build it, and the amendment is the capstone. And that takes a lot of time. And I think then to be more specific, like why are we stuck at 19 right now? And I think there's a couple of reasons. I want to explain, first of all, I'm more frustrated than anybody about this. Right? People like ask me this question like somehow, like it's just easy for me. And I go around and I go to all these states and I take the abuse just like our grassroots activists. And I got to leave and I got to go to the next state and cheer everybody on. So I hate it. I hate losing. I wish it were going faster. A couple of things happened that led to this. First of all, we had COVID, and for 1 year, COVID shut us down completely, right? The legislators were out of session, so there were no sessions. The following year, the sessions were mostly about all the things they didn't do during the COVID year. So we really had pretty much 2 years out of the loop where nothing got done in regard to Convention of States, and that was just out of our control. And then we have another year, which I don't really have a reason for. I would just say, we're making progress, and sometimes people don't understand that we're making progress. And I'll give you an example of what I mean by that. Legislation is, it happens incrementally. So people think Well, if they like convention of states, they'll just pass convention of states. But you've been around long enough to know this is how it works. You know, the first year you go to a legislature, you don't even have a sponsor. You don't even know how the legislature works. And so what you do is you go find a sponsor in your first year. You probably don't even get introduced into a committee because you don't, that's how it works. Like, it's a new idea, it doesn't get committee time. And then maybe the next year you get introduced in a committee and it's the wrong committee, or you just don't have the votes in committee and you lose in committee. The next year you get assigned to the right committee, you've got the right sponsor, and maybe you get the vote in committee and you make it out of committee, and now you make it to the floor. Each one of those things, from my perspective, is a victory. But when the public looks at it, it's like, well, did you notch the mark on the board, right? Did you pass the state? The answer is no, we didn't. But for example, this year in 3 different states, we had supermajority votes where we won by a supermajority in the Senate. That's never happened before in convention of states. So not only is it popular, it's so popular we got a supermajority. In one of those states, we missed the House by one vote. So I look at that and I say, I get it. It's not notched up on the board, but that's a victory. It shows me we're moving incrementally closer. So while I'm frustrated, I'm probably not as frustrated as people are looking at it from afar and just seeing 19, 19, 19, and nothing's happening. We also have Kansas sort of in the stable, ready to go. We passed Kansas. Most people won't realize this. We passed it by a simple majority. That's what it takes. But Kansas has something in their state constitution that says that it takes a 2/3 majority. That's actually unconstitutional under the United States Constitution, under the Supremacy Clause.
I see.
Right? Because what it does is it limits a state's power constitutionally to call an Article 5 convention. State constitution can't limit the federal constitution. So that right now is sitting before a federal judge. A couple of state legislators are litigating that, and we're hoping to get a decision on that soon. Now, if you want to talk about frustrating, that's been under advisement by that judge for, I think, 11 months now.
I was going to say, it's been a few months.
It's been briefed, it's been argued, and the judge just won't issue a decision. So eventually, the judge will issue a decision, and we believe that will be a favorable decision. Even if it were not, we would appeal it, and we believe we would win on appeal on that one. So that one's sort of in the stable. North Carolina right now is a weird one, very frustrating. We've passed the House, literally years in a row. We've just never gotten a vote in the Senate. And that's a Senate president that's holding it up. And it's honestly, it's even weirder because he's not opposed. It's just that he has a couple members of his caucus that don't want to vote on it. And because they would probably vote for it, and there are constituents in their district that really don't like it. Not the majority, but loud ones. And so he just protects his caucus. So I'm praying we get that done in this session. That would take us to 21.
Well, here's what I've been hearing from some other people that I've asked this question of. And I think maybe it's something we should consider or look at, certainly, and that's the Charlie Kirk impact.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Could that be what gets us back on the road here?
I think it's hard to say exactly how big.
I know it's early, but
how big
it's
the
growing.
It's going to be there.
Yes,
100%. Look, it's as simple as I was in church last Sunday, and my church was more packed than I've ever seen it. And everybody I know that went to church or synagogue said the exact same thing. There's going to be a tremendous tsunami effect from Charlie Kirk being killed. Like, he's a true martyr. He's going to be bigger in death than he was in life, and absolutely can have an effect. I spoke today with, or emailed today with somebody on the Turning Point board offering to help them with whatever they need. He said, we want to work with you guys. So I expect we're going to see more synergy between the organizations. And also, I would say, look, there are other pivot points. Elon is a potential out there.
Is he on board with us, you think?
I would say, I mean, I can tell you, there was interest expressed.
Okay.
And he
were you able to talk directly with him?
No, I spoke with one of his political guys.
Okay.
And he said, look, we're interested. And he said, but, look, Elon is interested in lots of things, and you never know when he's going to decide he wants to do something.
Yeah.
So I think he's interested. It fits Elon's mold. He's a disruptor. We're disruptive. Look, I feel his pain. He said he was going to do this third-party thing. I think he's abandoned that. But when he said it, I said, look, brother, I feel your pain. I made a video like this because he won. He helped win a presidential election. He helped win the House and the Senate. He gets appointed head of Doge. and then he lost. Like, it's just absolutely unbelievable, right?
Yeah.
To put $250 million, which is what he spent, to win everything and then not to get anything. And my perspective was, hey, I did that 12 years ago with the Tea Party movement, right?
Right.
We took over Congress. We swung 62 seats from Republican or Democrat to Republican, the biggest victory since 1938, and then nothing.
Yeah.
That's called winning and then still losing. And so I understand his frustration. So I hope he comes on board. And the last thing I would add, where, look, anything's a potential tipping point. Malcolm Gladwell is one of my favorite writers, and he wrote a book called Tipping Point. You never know when it's going to come. You don't feel it right before. It's just boom, and it happens. Another one is, whatever President Trump decides to do. We've had a petition asking President Trump to come on board. We have over 100,000 signatures.
He hasn't officially done that.
No,
then,
he has
he?
not. But I can tell you, I talk to people in the administration. There's we've
got a lot, so many in the administration that are supportive
We've got
of
all
it.
that, right? We have Hegseth and Brooke Rollins, the Ag Secretary. We've got Caroline Levitt, the Press Secretary. We got Mike Huckabee, the ambassador to Israel.
Vance, isn't he
JD
supporting?
Vance is a supporter. So you have all this built-in support in the White House. So will the White House support? I mean, I can't predict that, but if Elon came on board, if the White House came on board, the Charlie Kirk effect, I mean, there's just a lot of stuff in the water right now that I think could cause a tipping point to happen.
I think you're right. I hope you are right.
I hope I'm right, too. But here's what I'll say: even if I'm not, I'm going to keep working because I do this because I have kids and grandkids. My first grandkid now this year, she's 1 year old, and so I look at my granddaughter, her name's Lorelei, and I look at her and I think, and I'm sure you can relate to this, Dale. It's different having grandkids than kids, right? Like when my kids were born, I remember holding them and thinking, I'll be here for you forever. And I remember having that same feeling when I held Lorelei for the first time. And then I remember thinking, I won't though, right? I mean, average life expectancy, I'm 63 years old. Who knows how long God gives us on this earth? At least Charlie Kirk lost his life at 31. And I look at Lorelei and I think, man, I got to do whatever it takes for as long as I've got so that I can leave the best country that I possibly can. So whatever happens, whether we hit a tipping point, whether we have another rough year, I'm in the fight for the long haul.
Wait till you get some great grandkids.
You don't look old enough to have
I've got three. I've got three greats now.
Well, you are truly doubly generationally blessed, so I'm looking forward to that.
All right. Mark, thank you very much.
Thanks, Dale. Hey, I really appreciate you guys. You guys are doing great work with this show, and we can all learn a lot from you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hey,
Okay. Well, greetings, everyone. Dale Parrish, COS Today host. I'm here today at our summit in Indianapolis, and we're very proud to have one of our own. I'm going to call you one of our own.
Absolutely.
Lieutenant Governor Michael Beckwith. And Michael, you've been a guest on our program a number of times, a couple of times at least. And matter of fact, I think you got us pulled off of YouTube one time.
Good. You know what? That's a badge of honor.
Sure. That just came to my mind. I believe it was one of his interviews that we did.
I was like, it must have been a good interview.
We got temporarily pulled off of YouTube. I just thought about that.
That's funny.
Anyway, Micah, the question we've been asking other interviewees is why do you think Convention of States, why has it taken so long to get beyond 19 states?
Well, because the first 19 states are going to be the states that are probably more like-minded with us. So that last, third is going to be the hardest push because you're now starting to talk about states that probably are more moderate, more left-leaning, and so being able to convince them is just going to take a big-time groundswell. It's going to take a grassroots movement like we've probably not seen yet in the Convention of States movement to get us over that hump. Because you're not only going to see probably apathy, you're going to begin to see resistance to a Convention of States just agenda, and that's because I think the left knows how powerful Article 5 could be if we get to 34.
Right. And the opposition is getting stronger and stronger against us. Now, I mentioned to you that in some of my other interviews, I'm beginning to hear with regard to what can we do.
Yeah.
I'm beginning to hear more and more about the Charlie Kirk impact.
Yeah.
How do you
I see it.
agree
Yeah.
with? Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I mean, so it's been just over a week since Charlie's murder, and I mean, we around the state we have seen vigils and we've seen students coming out in droves. I was down at
Have you
IU on
really?
Sunday night.
Did-
It was
really?
a packed house.
Really?
ISU, Purdue, Christian schools are doing vigils. It is absolutely amazing to see how God is taking something so wicked and evil and turning it for good. And so I think, yes, we've got momentum. We need to capitalize on that to honor Charlie's legacy, to say this is what he believed in. He believed in American exceptionalism. And one of the things that makes us exceptional is Article 5.
Right.
We, the states, get to tell Washington how to do it, not the other way around. And so I think it's really important, yes, that we move now. I think this is our window of opportunity that God has allowed us to have, and Charlie would be proud, I think, to see.
He was an avid supporter of.
Yeah. Oh, I know.
Yes.
I know. Yeah.
Yes. Oh, I hope you're right. I hope you're right on that, because I think something needs to happen to kind of push things along. So, Mike, thank you very much.
Dale. I appreciate
Congratulations,
it. Thank
and
you.
we're proud of you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. All right. Greetings, everyone. Dale Parrish with COS Today. We're again here in Indianapolis at the Convention of States Summit, and we're honored to have as one of our guests today is. Do you go by former senator? Does it make any difference?
Whatever you want to call me is fine.
Whatever. Okay. Just don't call you late for dinner. Right? All right. Okay. Senator Santorum, Rick Santorum, who has just spoken to our group here at Convention of States, and I want to thank you for being a senior advisor for Convention of States. I'm always happy to see you on one of my news broadcasts. I watch Newsmax a lot.
Good for you. Thank you.
And they always introduce you as a senior advisor to
Convention
and
States.
I think,
asked
oh,
them to do that. Yeah.
good. Well, that's
Keep repping the organization out there as
that's
much
good.
as I can.
Will the other networks do that for you?
Well, no, I only go on to Newsmax. I have a contract with them, so I'm
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, I'm exclusive to them.
Okay. Well, good for you. Great. Well, Senator, the question we're asking the various headliners that we've talked to here is, as you know, Convention of States, we're at 19 states. We're stuck at 19, and I would like to have your opinion as to how are we going to go beyond 19 states?
Yeah, I think we just continue to do the work. I mean, that's the easy thing. The easy answer there is just, we have the solution to the problems confronting this country, and it's new. It's old. It's 250 years old, but it's new because we've not had one before.
That's right.
So, we just have to continue to work hard, do the education. I think the reason we've hit a pause is I sort of blame this for a lot of things, but COVID. And the reason is because what we saw in COVID was a dramatic loss of people's faith in institutions. They just don't think things work the way they're supposed to, and they're afraid. They become more and more afraid of entrusting governmental institutions to do anything.
Well, no doubt about that.
And so this is new. So it's the combination of something that's new, it's never been done before, and the general suspicion of institutions, and that will fade. And I also have to say, I think the populism that I am very much in favor of, and that Donald Trump has certainly brought to the conservative cause, with that populism comes, let's just say, an element that doesn't believe in authority, right? And wants to sort of do things, on their own, if you will. And so they're very, very suspicious of things that look like, folks removed from their communities are trying to do for the country.
Okay.
They just leave me alone, if you will. And
Yeah.
that's a dangerous thing, sort of like the anti-institutionalization, sort of the anti, we can't trust anybody, not just any institution, but anybody to do these things. And I think that undermining a lack of trust, both from those two things, I think has caused us trouble on the right, which is where we've had trouble.
Very good. Very good. In some of our other interviews that we've done and asked this question, the issue of, or the topic of the Charlie Kirk impact, the momentum that appears to be growing with Turning Point, the youth, as you know, the youth vote played a major role in the last election.
Yeah.
So do you see, is it too early, or do you see any?
Look, I think, certainly, you heard me talk, and Charlie is having a profound impact on the country in his death. That's what martyrs do. They have a huge impact. The quote that I've used from Kierkegaard, which is tyrants. When tyrants die, their reign ends. When martyrs die, their reign begins.
Reign begins.
and so Charlie's reign in some respects is beginning. The question is, and this is a serious question, I lived through 9/11. I thought that 9/11 was going to change the country.
We all did.
And it didn't.
Mm-hmm.
And
for a while.
It did for a while.
Right.
But this is such an information-driven, fast-paced, I don't know what movie it was, but Be a Goldfish. I don't know if you remember. It was a movie, and I can't remember why. He kept saying, "Why would the coach say be a goldfish?" Because the goldfish has the shortest memory of any animal.
Is that right? Okay.
That's why they can live in a bowl and not because everything, like every 2 seconds, it's new.
Oh,
They've forgotten what happened.
All right.
They've forgotten everything.
Well, that's kind of like yes.
Like us. So we're in a Venice. We're goldfish.
Yes.
That we experience the moment, and then in a few seconds we forget about it. And so the question is, some things do last. Most don't. But what we can do is we can commit to ourselves into making this moment last. And society's going to move on. I have no doubt about that. But the question is whether those who are closely connected to Charlie, and there are hundreds of thousands, not millions of them, whether they will continue on. And if they do, so will he.
Yeah. Well, let's hope so. Because it's very important. The youth.
Absolutely.
Bringing the youth in to our movement. So again, thank you very much, Senator.
Thank you.
Nice to have you here today. Thank you.
God bless.
I'm being a goldfish, Dale.
All right. That's good. Good impression. Good impression.
Well, it's so true. It's so true.
That was fun watching those again. I'd forgotten. That
was a fun summit.
Yeah. Those were I think pretty good interviews and very, very good insights.
Mm-hmm.
So Joy, thanks for putting those together, Ken.
Yep.
Like Ken said, we did many other interviews, and maybe we'll put some of those together too. One of the things that we were able to interview every regional director for Convention of States. So and we're going to be bringing each one of them on, hopefully, to talk about their region. So we've done one already, and we're getting ready to. I'm going to be recording another one this week yet. So we'll have another one ready to go before the month is out. So anyway, good job. Thanks, Ken. Thank you very much. Okay, let's bring this young lady, Macy Gunnell, back on. She's been patiently waiting in the lobby for us to get to her. So, Macy, hopefully you were able to watch those interviews in this last segment. And of course, at the time of the summit in Indy, the Charlie Kirk assassination had just occurred about a week prior to that. So that was a very, very big impact, a very big topic during the summit. And we were all concerned at that time as to the momentum that was going to create. And of course, it's grown tremendously since that time. So been anxious to hear your experience here. And Ken, I'll let you take it on from here and guide Macy through this segment. Okay?
Jump in anytime, Dale. But yeah, Macy, I think as you're well aware, our convention of states grassroots army here is well over. What was the latest numbers, Dale? Are we at 83,000?
No, I think in Indiana about 74,000
grassroots followers supporters. And we appreciate having a rose between the two thorns in this interview, because us old guys have been doing this forever. And one of the things that obviously we wanted to get some more insight and some of the more, I don't know, insightful thoughts of people that are certainly in your generation and those even younger or a little bit older than you, because we feel that what our group is supporting and going towards, we feel is a long-term fix for many of the problems we have in the country. I'm sure you're well aware. It's fiscal responsibility, it's term limits. These things are I think are highly recognized by our younger generations. They can't buy a house. They look at some of these, I'll call them old crabs that have been in Congress for 40 or 50 years. And the same thing happens over and over again, no matter who gets elected. And it goes both ways. There's problems on both the Republican and the Democratic side. But getting to the Turning Point USA aspect of things, we'd love to hear what your insights are on Turning Point. And we as a group, or as you heard some of those interviews already, we are trying to make the connection with Turning Point to join in, to be collaborators with you. We want to support TPU. If that means you need a few people at a rally you're doing or whatever, and we can help in that. Those are some of the things that we want to do as Convention of States supporters. And we've been at this, as I said, I'm not sure you know the history, but we were the 6th state to pass the resolution. And the fight goes on. People think, well, you already passed. We don't need to talk about it. But things can go the other way. It can be rejected. And we'd have to start that fight all over here again in Indiana. So it's a continual fight. But I'll stop rambling on and let you talk a little bit about your association with Turning Point, and feel free to interject. Your association with as far as the young Republicans that you're involved with there as well.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, first thing I want to say is that if Charlie Kirk were alive today, I know that he would absolutely adore you guys and adore everything you guys stand for. These basic principles are going to be what carry us further into a future of prosperity, because they're exactly what founded our great nation. So surely they're going to be what saves our nation from the hot mess that it is today. So very much appreciate you guys. I know that he would as well. But Turning Point USA, I absolutely adore them. They are really the reason I think I am so conservative today and I'm so active as well. They were the first people to jump in back whenever the policy happened that I talked about in the first segment. And since then, they have just been relentless advocates for truth, not just here at St. Mary's, but they've personally, I've been very lucky for them to personally be huge fans of me and help build me up as well. So Charlie himself, he was actually very, very fond of our chapter here at St. Mary's, and he was constantly checking in on our school. So it was absolutely devastating to see the loss that we faced with him personally as well. So I've been very lucky to get to know him personally. I know that he's a fantastic man, and I just absolutely adore everything that Turning Point is and everything Turning Point stands for. So as I said, I'm the president of our chapter here. We actually just got recognized October 2nd of this year after 4 years of fighting for recognition. So that was 4 years of getting repeatedly denied or ignored and constantly harassed and intimidated by not only members of the administration at the school, but also students and professors teachers themselves. So it's been a really unfortunate, horrible fight we've had to endure, me specifically, for 4 years as the most outspoken conservative on this campus. But rest assured, I mean, we're finally approved, and it's been an honor to be able to finally be loud and proud. Rest assured, I think I was being pretty loud and proud before, but we're very excited we were finally able to do campus events and all that as well. So everything they stand for is exactly what I know is going to bring not only this campus, but also this entire nation, and specifically my generation, up into a future of true American prosperity and restore the American dream. Because, like you said, I mean, people on both sides of the aisle have absolutely ruined what it is, and absolutely ruined the American dream, and absolutely ruined the sanctity of American citizenship as well. So, and Turning Point is fighting to restore that and restore patriotism among my generation. So that's why I've been so lucky and so honored to attend so many of their events. I mean, the crowd sizes they are able to pull in are absolutely astronomical and so impressive. And again, it's unfortunate I had to take this, but even after Charlie's death, we're actually seeing numbers absolutely skyrocket. We have thousands upon thousands of new chapter registrations all across the nation, thousands upon thousands of new students getting involved. And AmFest, their big end of the year event this year, actually sold out way sooner than they ever anticipated, and they actually had to get in even bigger venues. So I've been lucky to be close with a lot of people there at HQ and be involved heavily in the mission, especially going forward after what happened. So rest assured, I mean, Turning Point, this is just the beginning. Things are just getting started, and they're not getting rid of us too soon.
Well, and let me, if we could pause, but just one thing you did mention there. You mentioned that it took 4 years for your chapter to really get where it needs to be, and I understand there's thousands of new chapter applications. Is it an average that it takes that long to get an app? In other words, give us an idea where we stand with new applications and how long it takes to get these people up and running in these different chapters.
Absolutely. My case here at this school, that is a complete outlier. The school is grotesquely liberal, and they hate everything that Turning Point stands for. They've said it themselves. They thought that Charlie was hateful and bigoted, and therefore thought that I was a hateful extremist. So that's why I was doxxed for 4 years straight and was constantly ignored or denied in all of my requests to get a chapter approved. So we are an outlier. Don't worry about that. Most schools, you're not going to see that. You're only going to see a situation that may take up to maximum a few months. Most likely just a few weeks. So on the Turning Point side of things, they are working day in and day night to make sure that we can get everything expedited as fast as possible. So they are working as hard as they can to make sure we get every single one of those chapter approval submissions approved as soon as possible, working with schools and working with administrators across the nation. So unfortunately, it took the assassination of Charlie Kirk for people to wake up, but I think that school administrators and people across the nation have woken up and realized that this is something that every single chapter in our nation needs. Every single school needs these ideas represented, because without it, I mean, the second we stop talking, the second we stop bringing these ideas to light, we're going to unfortunately see more of what happened to Charlie happen.
Okay, if you don't mind, I'll get right to you in a second, Dale. If you don't mind answering, we have a viewer question. If you don't mind addressing it, I'll go ahead and show that for you here. Again, this is from Susan Lyons. She says, what's your advice for another granddaughter at Mishawaka High School who wants to join but doesn't have a TPUSA chapter there yet? Is there a way for her to be involved?
Yes. Oh my gosh. Start one. She needs to be the one to take the initiative to start it. I mean, we have to follow in Charlie's lead and do exactly what it takes to bring these voices, to bring these opinions onto not only our campuses, but our high schools as well. So I encourage your granddaughter, Susan, to be the one to stand up and be bold and follow in Charlie's path and follow the example that he set for us and be the one to start it. So please send anyone my way specifically. Anyone can reach me online through Instagram or X, and I can make sure I get people in touch with our regional representatives here, because I've been able to help start a few high school chapters around the area as well. So this is something I definitely want to help make happen, Susan. So please reach out to me.
Great. If you want to want to put those connections for your Instagram, whatever, in the chat, feel free to do that, or let me know and we'll get it in the chat as well. Dale, I think you had something you wanted to ask.
Yeah, I just want to mention to Macy that we've been in contact with a gentleman here in Indiana that is, I can't remember his exact title, but he is supposedly in charge of the college chapters of TPU across Indiana. I'm going to go ahead and say his name, Jonathan Bontrager.
Yes.
Do you know that name?
Yep, absolutely. Work closely with him.
I thought you would. Now he says that there is. I don't have it. I don't have the name right now, but he was going to give me the name of another individual that focuses on high schools here in Indiana, and I don't know what that name is, but if Susan is still listening, we will be making contact with that individual as well. So yeah, we really as the Turning Point organization and Convention of States were organized in a very similar way, and I think our core values mesh with each other, and I think we can help each other out a great deal. So yeah, I think there's a lot of work that we can do together. Now, my other question for you is this is a very, very broad question, but we're hearing a lot about the movement in our country towards socialism, and we hear in the news a great deal about the what we call the Islamification of America. As a matter of fact, the other young lady that was on our In Focus group tonight, Debbie Stewart, is going to be doing a presentation on the Islamification. I don't know if that's a real word or not, but she's going to be doing a presentation on that topic here in the near future. My point is, if those movements are in fact underway, is the Turning Point movement enough to counter that, or are overcome those movements? Do you see any? Obviously, the Turning Point movement and these other movements are contrary to each other. So do you have any sense? Is that something you have a sense of?
Yes.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yes, absolutely. I think that Turning Point USA is 100% the remedy to the Islamification and the huge rise in socialism among my generation specifically. I mean, you saw the recent election in New York. Zohran Mamdani, he won by astronomically grotesque numbers, especially among Gen Z women. This is something I've commented about
Yeah,
in some written
yeah.
pieces I've done. But 100% Turning Point USA is the remedy because this Islamification and this issue we see in these horrible rising trends in my generation, it's a spiritual battle, and that's why I adore Turning Point so much because every single principle they stand on, it's all biblical. Turning Point USA Faith, for example, is a huge sector of the national organization, and they do everything. They fight for all the same Turning Point USA principles with biblical standing. And I think that's why it's so important that get more we get the churches involved, and we get these leaders across the nation in the church involved in this as well, because it's so much more than just uh, taxes and fiscal policy and all that. I mean, this truly comes down to moral foundational principles of faith and what I know to be true in my Christian faith. And I think that the more we can spread the gospel, the more we can seek these individuals who believe these horrible truths and reach them through what is true. And that's what we read in the Bible. I think that that's going to be the remedy, and it's 100% accomplished. It's going to be 100% accomplished by things like Turning Point USA Faith and so many other church leaders getting together and fighting together to fight this horrible evil that we see. Because if we don't fight this, then we're going to see a horrible future for my generation and generations to come. So I know that Turning Point USA is taking this very seriously, and my generation and church leaders across the nation are taking this seriously as well. So I'm looking forward to seeing what we can do to fight this evil and restore true faith and restore the truth in our nation.
I sure hope you're right.
Shine the light on darkness. Yeah, Macy, we've got another viewer question. I think you might know this viewer pretty well, so I'm going to go ahead and put the question up for you.
Oh, there's that guy again.
That guy, Jimmy Murphy. He says that thank you for hosting this. He wants to know, Macy, what sets the America First movement apart from other factions?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that this America First movement is exactly what is going to set our nation up for a trajectory of prosperity, because these are the exact same ideals we saw at the founding of this nation. That's what even got us here in the first place. So I'm looking forward to seeing the popularity gain in this movement. We're already seeing it as well, especially among my generation and those on the right. in Generation Z, because we were seeing an increasing popularity of Pat Buchanan style America First ideals, doing everything we can to actually put Americans first. So some people may claim to put Americans first while also sending billions of tax dollars across our oceans and getting involved in endless horrible foreign wars. I'm talking about the Nikki Haley neocons and all of them, but I think we as conservatives in my generation need to come together and understand that we have a shared moral principle and moral guiding goal of really restoring the American dream. And that's only going to happen if we actually put our money where our mouth is and actually do things that are, and implement policies that are going to send our money and send our resources to Americans first. So that's going to come with things like mass deportations. That's going to come with things like ending birthright citizenship, all these things that actually put what we believe into practice. That's going to be what actually restores the true American dream. It restores the value of American citizenship, and that's something I'm very, very adamant on, something I speak on as well. So thank you, Jimmy Murphy, for asking that question. Very great question. You seem like a great guy.
Way to cover that one, Macy. I think you're already making a perfect claim that things will go just very well for you.
I think maybe we ought to get Jimmy on here too. Sometime.
I think we're gonna have to bring them both back, Dale. Yeah.
Hey, he would love to. That'd be dangerous, though. I don't know if you guys want that.
Is he still in school too? Is he still in school?
Yep, he is a law student at Notre Dame.
I kind of suspected that. Yeah. Well, good. Right. We'll have you both on sometime. So anyway.
Absolutely.
All right. What else you got, Ken?
Well, Macy, if there's nothing else that you want to add tonight, really appreciate coming on, giving your time tonight. I think you've given us a lot of hope, which is something that we, for the long time we've talked about here on COS Today is getting more youth involved in not only our movement, but involved in basically saving America, because I think both Dale and I can speak to this. We both have grandchildren. Matter of fact, Dale has great grandchildren. And the reason that I think both of us got involved is the fact that we didn't want down the road for our grandkids to be stuck in not only in not being able to pay off a debt that's going to be passed on to them, but to be living in a society that's no longer free and not have the type of childhood that both Dale and I had when we were growing up. And so we thought, if we don't do something, and so we saw obviously Article 5 Convention of States as a true constitutional way to, as we call it, use the Constitution to save the Constitution. I didn't want my grandkids coming back and saying, "Hey, granddad, why didn't you do anything? Why'd you sit and be silent?" So, getting more youth involved was pertinent to our cause. In even doing this program. So we do really appreciate the connection and hope to be able to have you on future programming along with other people that we feel can put some fresh faces on our program. So we do appreciate you coming on tonight.
Absolutely. Thank you guys for having me so much. I love everything you guys do. Keep up the good work. We need you guys to fight for young Americans like me, but also rest assured that there's plenty of pissed off Gen Z conservatives across the nation that are ready to pick up the mantle and pick up where you guys leave off as well. So thank you guys so much. It's been amazing.
Thank you.
Thank you, Macy. Thank you. Nice young lady, Ken. Thank you for bringing her on.
Yeah, well, Dale, I think, like I say, I think it's that's it's some of the voice that we've been hoping to hear, and certainly renews our energy based on the fact that we've been at this for a while, and sometimes you get beat down a little bit. So it's nice to have the youth come on and re-energize us.
Be sure you get me Macy's email address. I want to add her to the my list of individuals that I invite every week to join the In Focus group. So be sure and get me her email address. Okay.
Yep.
All right. Let's move on here. We're running a little bit of overtime, but we're okay. Dave's Daily Dose. Let's just jump over into that. And as we try to do one of these every week, this is something that our one of our contributors, David Punt out of Minnesota, and he does these. And this is one that he did a week or so ago. but it's it's about. Well, it ties into the Epstein files, which is going to be one of our topics on our next COS today. So I thought this was kind of appropriate, but this is a little piece that David did on Bill and Hillary testifying to Congress. So, which is coming up here in the next week. So anyway, let's listen to Dave's Daily Dose here, okay?
Consider the problems and challenges of your average run-of-the-mill ruminator. What to do, what to do. We've got lots and lots of topics to choose from today for the next episode of Dave's Daily Dose. We have the filibuster and 6 Democrats facing courts-martial and changes to SNAP provisions, or the Ukraine deal, or the California election for governor, or Jimmy Comey and Letitia James getting off the hook for now. What to do, what to do. Or I could go with Bill and Hill go to Congress. Yep, that's the one. This is Dave's Daily Dose on BrokenRoadRadio.com. I'm David Allen Punt. Put it on your calendar, Wednesday, December 17th, and then Thursday, December 18th, this year. Just in time for Christmas gift giving. Uncle Bill Clinton, the 42nd president of these United States, and the only one in recent memory to preside over a balanced budget. That was mostly Uncle Newt's doing, but Bill signed off on it. But that's not what the House Oversight Chair, James Comer, has in mind for potential conversation. He wants to know about Epstein, maybe about the Lolita Express, and St. James Island, sometimes locally referred to as St. Jeffy's Island. The committee wants answers and believes that Uncle Bill and Aunt Hill have some. Their main legal beagle, David Kendall, jotted a note to Comer some time ago and said the Clintons know so little about Epstein that they'd be more than happy to jot down some thoughts on paper and drop it off. And besides, Kendall suggested, perhaps the Clintons would be absolved from testifying in person because whatever they did was in the official parameters of their presidential and secretarial of state duties. Huh? Nice try, Kendall. What the committee wants to talk about happened after Bill left the Oval, like the 4 trips on the Express, the picture of you getting a massage, and the tale of you pressuring the magazine Vanity Fair to avoid publishing sex trafficking articles about your good friend Mr. Epstein. And there is no such thing as a Supreme Court decision about Secretarial of State duties. Perhaps, Hill, you could tell us about Ghislaine Maxwell's nephew, who worked on your presidential sweepstakes campaign, and then for the State Department, where you built that private email system. Bill is to show up at 10 o'clock in the morning for his chat, Hill the next day at 10, time for breakfast first if they get up early. Maybe bring the old White House visitor logs from those 12 or 13 visits Jeffy made to the Clinton Oval Office. And Hill, you could bring receipts from campaign donations Jeffrey handed over while you were running for all sorts of positions. And maybe some pictures of Jeff from Chelsea's wedding, just for fun. Comer said that having Bill and Hill in person at the committee is important to the investigation because each of them maintained personal relationships with Jeffy and Ghislaine in their personal capacities as private citizens. Clinton lawyer Kendall has said, according to PJ Media and other sources, that the Clintons welcome legitimate oversight in this matter that is grounded in fact, as do we all. I'm David Allen Punt.
I tell you.
That's going to be very interesting, isn't it?
Old Dave certainly pulled one out of the drawer there, for sure.
Yep, that's going to be very interesting to see what comes out of those
for sure.
testimonies. Very interesting. Okay, well, let's talk about what's coming up on COS today here, Ken. Coming up, I got to get that corrected, the date, the way I put it there. but coming up on the 15th, 1 week from tonight, will be the main thing is going to be a presentation on the Epstein files from our own Ken Whaley. So we're going to be getting into that as an actual topic next Monday. And then now going into the holidays for the year, we have in the past for the Christmas week and New Year's week, we've done a best of. But this year we're going to try something different. I'm calling it. We're going to do a Christmas special on the 22nd, and we're going to do a New Year's special on the 29th. And they'll be pre-recorded, but we will do our normal format of an in-focus group. We're going to be talking about Christmas. We'll be talking about New Year's, as well as then having some other presentations that we will record and present. So it'll all be new content. Won't be any best of or repeat from any previous broadcast. So that's coming up on the 22nd of December. And then coming up then on the 29th of December will be what we call our New Year's special. So, Ken, you and I have a lot of work to do between now and then.
A short time to do it in.
Yeah. And a short time to do it, but we'll get it all done and recorded, and then we can sit back and enjoy the holidays over Christmas and New Year's. So that's what's coming up. Mm-hmm. Once again, anyone if you have a question or a comment about our broadcast, feel free to drop us an email at raiseyourvoicecos@gmail.com. raiseyourvoicecos@gmail.com. Well, Ken, I think that's going to be it for tonight. We'll let Marengo Mike close us out here tonight. Any other viewer comments or questions?
Well, I'll go ahead and post one now that you're talking about it. We'll put this one up here from George Mormon, who says, another great show, gentlemen.
Oh, good. We've had, just looking at the viewer comments, we've had more than normal tonight. So yeah,
I think we might have hit a nerve.
We may have hit a nerve. Might have been Macy, huh? Maybe it was Macy that did it.
It's that rose between two thorns. We have to do that more often.
Yeah, we definitely want to bring her back. She's pretty dynamic young lady. Yeah.
Yep.
All right, Ken, let's let Marengo Mike close us out this evening. So everyone, thank you for tuning in. Be sure and get back with us next Monday evening at the same time. And once again, you can find us on our YouTube channel, American Patriots for Convention of States. So you can find us there, not only the current broadcast, but any past broadcast as well. So anything else, Ken?
No, I'm going to go ahead and put that link one more time in the chat, though, being that you brought it up. I'll go ahead and put that back up. And yeah.
All right. Thanks a lot. Thanks, everyone.
Yeah.
Marengo Mike here with a reminder that our work to raise the bar on making our federal government accountable to the people is only halfway done. We need to grow our grassroots army of citizens every day to fulfill the vision of our forefathers and keep our land free and prosperous. So, if you have never signed the petition to show your support, use that QR code and do that now. While you're there, why not kick it up a notch and volunteer for many of the positions available where your talents can make a difference as we march into a new year. Thank you, and God bless.